Down on the banks of the Old Man River, heavy air calling rain. They say if she keeps up and delivers, the levee will break again. Tell me, what could you do then when the river comes a-calling? Bend a knee and pray that you can stay in the cool grace of the water. Storm, she stormed and danced. Days of rain and wind just hanging in the valley. Victim of the circumstance. Try your hand at sand, but no, the banks ain't moving. Old Man River rising 3 foot by the hour. Drop your bags and run, you know that surrender time has come to water.
Because I don't need more sun damage.
Can you even believe it? Wow.
We have definitely skipped a couple of chapters, but don't worry, I'm gonna catch you up. But first, hello, hello, hello. My name is Misako Envela, and thank you so much for pressing play on today's video. I'm currently coming to you live from a small town on the coast of Italy. I'm here for a dance program because a stranger invited me. The title of this video is 100% accurate, and I said yes. And I am so, so grateful and happy to be here. The last time I posted on this channel, I was reporting to you live from Tokyo. And I was nearing the end of my 6-month Japanese language program. And that 6 months was probably like the most transformative chunk of time in my adult life. I went to Tokyo because I wanted to connect to that side of my heritage. I wanted to learn more about the culture, part of my culture. I wanted to see what life could look like for me over there. And it was really expansive. It was really challenging and way more isolating than I had thought it would be, but I also went into it knowing that I wanted it to be a time for me to really pour into myself and learn about myself and learn about what I care about. And so I kind of knew it was going to be that kind of time. My life there was incredible. I was living the most optimized version of my life. I had access to incredible healthcare, healthy food. I was able to make a couple really great friends. My access to like public transportation, things that I just had never experienced before. I had everything I could ever want in terms of like the mechanics of my life, how my life functioned on a day-to-day basis, being able to walk to grocery stores and co-working spaces and just navigate the city really easily and access different parts of the country really easily, and to do it all without looking over my shoulder. It was really cool to be able to live my life like that, but feeling so far from the people that I care about. And also I really missed just having spontaneous conversations with people every day, connecting with people every day, making friends really easily, which was something that I really cherished as part of my life in Mexico City. My ability to build and sustain community there, and just connect with people very frequently was something that I really longed for. And so even though my life was functioning really efficiently and like I had everything I could ever want logistically, the human to human connection and the community aspect I didn't have, and it made me realize how much I knew how much I valued that, but not having it made me realize how much I need that. And do I think it's possible to build that in Japan? Absolutely. Do I think there are wonderful people in that country? Absolutely. But, and the other part of this is I wasn't in a place in my career where I could drop everything for language school. Language school is something that I will forever be grateful for. Being able to take those 6 months to learn Japanese is, I could have never imagined that I would have done something like that. But it was way more of a time investment than I had planned for. And I just had to be honest with myself. I'm not at a place in my career where I can sort of stop everything to focus on learning the language in order to live somewhere. Luckily, I have really understanding clients. Like the relationship I have with them, I basically just have to deliver my work. And so I didn't have to be online all the time, but it was really tough to balance. And I did have to sacrifice work in order to stay committed to school. And when it came time to, like, for the option to renew, because I had the 1.5 year long visa, yeah, I just had to own the fact that like I couldn't commit to another 6 months. And I was more okay with that than I thought I would be at the beginning of my journey to Japan. Before I got there, I thought that I would be willing to do anything and everything to stay. And when I got to the 6 months, I just felt so grateful for the time that I had spent there. And like I had learned what I needed to learn, that I felt okay with my journey ending there for now. I also sort of felt like my time in Japan was, I was sort of like in this cocoon and I was figuring out who I wanted to be. And by the end of it, I was this butterfly, and I knew that in order to chase my dreams of being a dancer, I would have to sort of, I feel like a Maya papaya right now, I would sort of have to fly to other places. And like knowing that I can return there whenever I want really comforted me. So I transitioned from Tokyo back to LA. I was planning this retreat experience, diving really deep into what it would be like to hold space for people in the world of dance and healing and somatic movement. And originally I wanted to launch this event in November, but it took me a little bit more time to find the perfect retreat space. I should have pushed the retreat back, but I really wanted to hold it, which it would have been now. And I just like severely underestimated the process of selling an experience like this. And I severely underestimated how much time other people would need to plan for an experience like this. Originally, I wanted people to have a minimum of 6 months to budget, but because of when I ended up launching it, it was like not a lot of time. So I'm like trying to figure out how to sell this experience, and it started to like move from feeling like a really expansive like healing experience to something that was really money centered, and I didn't like that feeling. And I also, because I hadn't hosted, and because I haven't hosted a retreat before, I really relied on the venue for a lot of services, which made the price go higher. And so it ended up being a lot more expensive than I wanted it to be. And it just started to feel like, am I selling something that's inaccessible? Will this be able to serve the community that I wanted to serve? All these questions were sort of floating around in my head. I was like, I need something that's gonna like help me through this process. So I started reading The Artist's Way, as many people are doing during this time. I started reading The Artist's Way, and then I actually started to get back into the dance classroom, the dance studio in LA. And doing both of those things simultaneously just made me more aware of how much more I wanted to learn before hosting an experience like this. And the author talks about when you return or start, doing your artist work again, this desire to want to do these like huge projects, these huge events, instead of just like taking it day by day. And I sort of felt like that's what I was doing with the retreat. Like I had just sort of acknowledged that this was my passion, or not, I guess acknowledged, because I always knew, but I owned that dance was my true passion. And then the next thing you know, I'm planning this big dance event, and while I still want to do it, and I felt like it would have been this incredibly healing experience, it wasn't until I was reading and in class, and I also hired a coach/consultant who specializes in selling these experiences, that I realized that I just needed more time. That I needed more time, I needed more space, and I wanted to make something that was more accessible. So I sat with it for a while, and I eventually decided to postpone it. I decided to postpone it, and that night I notified, only one person had sent their deposit, so I notified the person, sent their deposit back, and I was on my phone, and I was like, I really want to move through this. And so I opened up ClassPass, which I hadn't done in a while, and I found a class near me. I'd never been to the studio before. It was a Pilates class, and I was like, oh, I would really like to go to this class, but I hadn't been sleeping well. There's a point to all of this. I hadn't been sleeping well, so I was like, if I happen to wake up, I will go to this class. I was reading the instructor's reviews, and I was really intrigued by the fact that she is a physical therapist. And so I just knew that her sequencing would be top tier, because she understands, the body. And I'm really particular about my classes these days, just because I just don't want to injure myself. So I was like, if I wake up on time, the class is at 7:30, I'll go, but I might need to rest. Without any alarm, I wake up at 5 a.m. Something is telling me, go to this class, go to this class. So I'm like, okay, it's like a 5-minute walk from where I'm staying at the time. So I walk to the class, And I walk in and the woman's like, "Hi, honey." Like, I knew her. And I was like, "Hi." It was my first time there. She's like, "Misako." And she said something to me in Japanese. And I was like, wow. It was just so cool, like, to have that little connection. And I responded. I don't even remember what she said. But I just felt like so energized by that and welcomed. So I took her class. It ends up being, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, the best Pilates class I had ever taken. It was a hot studio. It's a Bikram studio. It was very, very hot, probably the hottest class I've ever taken. But I never wanted it to end. I never wanted it to end. Her pacing, her sequencing, the way she warmed us up, just like the flow of the movement. The speakers weren't even really working, but she was just such a good instructor. So much so that I waited till everyone left in the class to thank her. And I was so moved, I asked her, I'm like, "Do you teach people how to instruct Pilates?" And she's like, "I haven't, but I'm sure that I could." And I was like, "I just loved everything about your class. It felt so good in my body." And she goes on to say that she used to teach dance for 50 years. I was like, wow, that is why I loved it so much, because it felt like a class for dancers. And we find out that we have some dance people, or we have some mutuals in the dance community. And she goes on to say, "I'm gonna need someone to cover, because every summer I teach at this dance festival and in Italy." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, she tells me more about it. I'm like, "When is it?" It ends up being the same exact time period that my retreat would have been. Remember, just the day before, I decided to postpone my retreat. Then I pick this random studio on ClassPass. Something is telling me, some voice, "Go to this class, go to this class, go to this class." I go to this class. I find out the woman teaching is a dance teacher who's teaching at a dance retreat, dance festival. And it's like the exact thing I wanted. I told myself, I'm like, I actually just need to be a student right now and learn as much as I can. And then I meet this woman who has been teaching for years in the industry, who founded, not only was she teaching at this, she's the co-founder of this dance festival. And I was like, wow. It's so funny, because I had an event that I had postponed that was during this time, because I'm interested in being more of a student right now, because I realize I have so much more to learn. And she was like, "I'm gonna forward you the information, email me, and we'll figure out how to get you there." I'd never met this woman before. This is the same woman that she was the host that greeted me, and she ended up teaching the class. I was so moved by that. I was like, this is so kismet. I was supposed to meet you today. I go home, I'm looking into the event. It seems really advanced. I'm like, this is just too good to be true. It felt like such a magical thing that was meant to happen. And I convinced myself that it wasn't for me. Now, remember, I'm reading The Artist's Way. At this point, 2 weeks have probably gone by since this happened, and I never emailed her. This is the page. I literally sent her a photo of this. One of the things most worth noting in a creative recovery is our reluctance to take seriously the possibility that the universe just might be cooperating with our new and expanded plans. We've gotten brave enough to try recovery, but we don't want the universe to really pay attention. We still feel too much like frauds to handle some success. When it comes, we want to go. Of course we do. Any little bit of experimenting and self-nurturance is very frightening for most of us. When our little experiment provokes the universe to open a door or two, we start shying away. Hey, you, whatever you are, not so fast. I like to think of the mind as a room. In that room, we keep all of our usual ideas about life, God, what's possible and what's not. The room has a door. That door is ever so slightly ajar. And outside, we can see a great deal of dazzling light. I love the way Italian sounds. Out there in the dazzling light are a lot of new ideas that we consider too far out for us, and so we keep them out there. The ideas we are comfortable with are in the room with us. The other ideas are out, and we keep them out. In our ordinary pre-recovery life, when we would hear something weird or threatening, we just grab the doorknob and pull the door shut, fast. Inner work triggering outer change, ridiculous, slam the door. God bothering to help my own creative recovery, slam. Synchronicity supporting my artist with serendipitous Synchronicity supporting my artist with serendipitous coincidences, slam, slam, slam. Now that we are in creative recovery, there's another approach we need to try. To do this, we gently set aside our skepticism for later use if we need it. And when a weird idea or coincidence whizzes by, we gently nudge the door a little further open. Setting the skepticism aside, even briefly, can make for very interesting explorations. In creative recovery, it is not necessary that we change any of our beliefs. It is necessary that we examine them. More than anything else, creative recovery is an exercise in open-mindedness. Again, picture your mind as that room with the door slightly ajar. Nudging the door open a bit more is what makes for open-mindedness. Begin this week to consciously practice opening your mind. I felt like when I met her, it was this door slightly opening. You know, she was inviting me to this exact dance experience that I was seeking just the day before. And I slammed it because I was like, it's just too good to be true. It's not for me. I can't keep up. I won't be able to do it. And when I read this part of the book, I was like, I can't keep slamming the door. So I went back into my inbox and I found the message where she forwarded me the information about the retreat. And I was like, you know, I hadn't planned for this and I don't know how I'm gonna get there. But I'm gonna try my best to make this happen. And shortly after she responded and she was like, if you can pay for your flight, you can stay in this apartment near the studio for free. And she's like, if you need help paying for classes, just let me know. So I'm here. I'm here. And I'm really grateful to her because she was really like the magic that appeared in my life. And I just finished the first week and wow, is it hard. But it's a dream. It's exactly what I want. It's exactly what I need. Am I struggling through it? Absolutely. I'm dancing alongside women who have been training for years. But I just have to remind myself every day that I'm worthy of being in this space too. And how grateful am I to have so much room to grow and learn and expand. My journey is just getting started. And so that's the story of how I ended up in this small coastal town in Italy. And it's been a wonderful experience so far. People have been lovely. The first night, I went out to dinner with her and some of the other dance teachers and the other co-creator of the event. My Italian is not very good, but I'm trying. And I just feel so grateful to be here. I feel so grateful to be here. It's been a really eye-opening experience. I'm watching, I'm just so inspired by everybody around me. I feel like I have something to work towards. And I love that the teachers have been doing this for years. Like it's very, it doesn't feel commercial or like we're rushing to film. Like they're just here to teach us. And I really needed this because sometimes in LA it feels just like very social media centered, even though the teachers are amazing. Sometimes I'm just like, I just want to be taught. I don't really care about the footage or learning the choreography as fast as possible, and my soul is really being fed in that way. I'll be on this side of the world for the next couple of months. I had a couple experiences in LA that I'll get into at a later time that made me realize how much I appreciate that place and my community and being close to my family and so many things about like the diversity and the culture in LA. But I still don't think that I can live in the US. I really tried. So I'll be testing out another city soon, and I'm planning to show you how that goes as well. That is all I will say on that topic for now. I also wanted to say shout out to Tiffany. I met Tiffany in the line at Home State in Los Feliz, and she's the reason that this video exists. She basically shared with me that like she found my videos during a time where she had just moved back to the US from China, and just was like speaking life over me and made me realize that it's just like more important than I realized. And thank you, Tiffany, for taking the moment to share that, because you didn't have to, and I'm just so grateful for that interaction, and I think about it every day. I feel you're pretty much caught up to speed now. Today is registration day. We start classes again. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be taking modern this week. Last week I took theater jazz and lyrical jazz, but it was more like contemporary. This week I'll be taking modern and modern jazz. I don't have a lot of experience with modern, so I'm excited to see how that feels in the body, and I'm gonna push through this week and do the best that I can. I'd love to know how your summer is going, if any new dreams or past dreams have reemerged for you this season, and also if you've done the Artist's Way and what that experience was like for you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for showing up for me. Thank you so much for being patient with me. And as always, thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.